And welcome back, everybody, to the third series of the night. It's going to be Gospel versus Renewal here at what was meant to be 7:30, but you're seeing it a little bit later as we are now behind schedule, but that is completely fine. Granted, the fact that it's within the 30-minute mark tends to get a little bit messy after that. But that being said, it's going to be Dredge on Midwich Elementary for our first set. You're going to be seeing the Cash Dredge straight off the rip, and then after that, it's going to be Artist on ARP with a tiebreaker of Oni on the Coltow one if we do happen to need it. Anyway, we know what this man's capable of when he does play the Dredge. So very renowned for Gospel to have this man just playing the infamous 4K2 machine last season. So Mr. Tavi, last time these two teams faced off in Season 3, would you like to enlighten us on what particularly happened, being our beloved match official for that game?
Yes. I have had a little bit of experience, barring on the 4-hour mark, reffing those games. Seeing these two titans fight it out to try and get as much possible advantage in the sets that were played. That was in Season 3. I do still have the VOD of that, or a recording of that, from nearly a year ago. And yeah, it was Spirit. And then it went to unknown Kaneki, unknown Kaneki, unknown Kaneki. So that was some great stuff. And I do actually appreciate how Mo was playing on Renewal at that point. Mo was the one picking Kaneki, and that inspired Nu to pick Kaneki in the future sets for the season. So that was actually, that was insane to watch. It was like back-to-back 4K2s. And then like 4K1, and then and then Renewal just slightly dropped the ball. Gospel came out on top, and since then, not really seen too much, I think, between these two teams, at least in OSL or to my knowledge. But we're back here on a very, very infamous 4K set of the Dredge, and I think Cash has got himself up to a pretty nice start. Has applied Sloppy for a sec, but we saw For the People to actually counter that. And that is a huge For the People coming into play, because that that means, number one, our Survivor's healthy and also will not have to contend with Sloppy Butcher for the reset when the broken stance does wear off from Sky. So this bathroom pallet's going to be broken. I think most of these strong pallets will just be slowly eaten through by our Survivors of Renewal. It was just, again, insane to see a best of 3 go down to 7 sets. And here we are in Season 6, witnessing what could possibly, although I hope for my own sanity, not going to be a 7-set series.
Yeah, fingers crossed, touch wood. We won't send you off to be watching that game if it does happen to pan out like that. But we have ran into the infamous Room of Doom here over at top 7 after pre-dropping that pallet. You're just pretty much buying time until you either run into the Remnant and escape untouched, or if you just kind of stand still and go down like we would have seen. But we did short swing and miss it a little bit for a little bit more extra time for us Survivors, though. Cash just not unfortunately getting the hit the first time around, but does manage to get it the second time, so it is very close to being a tunnel out dead. We do have our Survivors just trying to dodge the Killer Instinct while we run into a little bit more of a spectator bug as we emerge through the lockers over at bottom 5, where we do see someone just pre-dropping this pallet here over at bottom 5 infirmary room. We're not going to opt to chase them. We want our tunnel out, and I like this play. This is very conventional stuff from our Dredge, and it is also very conventional that we bring in a build without Corrupt Intervention. We do have access to Wretched Fate, Eruption, Sloppy Butcher, and Pop Goes the Weasel. However, I do believe that our Wretched Fate has been broken as we do pre-drop this pallet here over at bottom 11. We're creating all kinds of distance down to try to reach the other God Filler, but unfortunately we do have the locker there to traverse into and emerge through, just hitting down our tunnel out Silence, and that's going to be them out of the trial with 3 generators remaining. So Cash putting on the absolute performance, as we know he definitely can do. He sees 2 Survivors here with Killer Instinct, one of which is injured and does not have access to the pallet here over at the infirmary room, as we have dropped it. Well, actually, we have used to vault it here, but we're not able to really do much as we have crazy remnant placement there to deny any sort of funny shenanigans going on. We didn't even need to break the pallet, but this is going to be ADHD now in chase, and I think that forces Lucky Boy to get off his generator and go for the pickup onto Sky when he has the correct means to do so. He can't really afford to commit too much onto that far generator there, especially with the tag coming in that early onto ADHD. As we do break the gen here, we're actually playing it safe and going back for the slug pickup there. So Cash knows the pressure on the map. He knows it's safe to do so. He doesn't really lose anything by doing this, and he just progresses the game down even further. It's going to be a basement hook too, so it's going to require, you know, some elite precision from our survivors to manage to pull back from this, because in a 3v1 scenario with one person on the hook in the basement, it's rough. It's extremely rough. It's looking extremely unlikely that they'll even really get another generator popped at this very moment. So looking like another 4K2. This is, like I said, 4K2 machine last season, so it wouldn't surprise me if this season around it is the exact same result, regardless of the fact that we've changed the balancing. I don't think that it's exactly the same. I can't see the add-on, so I don't really know if Field Recorder was brought into the trial. So if I can get confirmation onto that, no spectator bug. He was waiting for the knife. Well, I do appreciate that insight. Sorry, I thought it was a little bit of a spectator bug when we were just kind of staring off into the distance there. But while I wait for confirmation, Field Recorder and Broken Doll are the add-ons being brought in. So Field Recorder yet again making an appearance in OSL in the indoor maps. Okay, so regardless, Cash emerging from those lockers over at bottom 11, he is able to capitalize on this survivor here rotating for the pool, trying to cut them off, but they're a little too smart, doubling back at the correct time. But again, after breaking that generator over at corner 11, he's just oh no, open your eyes. The Nightfall just proving to be a little too dark for our man ADHD. We need to get him on the correct reshade maybe, but or potentially we just kind of got a little bit disoriented in the teleportation from Cash there. But we don't, I was about to say we don't make the window, but we have made the window. And you know what? Fair enough. We're going to be leaving this chase now after that little bit of a fumble of the bag. We're going to be able to bloody block this too. And we can even hit the survivor who just pulled, and potentially even beat Peepo Fat to deny the emerge through the basement from Sky. Surely in the next 5 seconds where he doesn't reach the pallet in time, he just goes down. No. Oh, it's looking extremely dicey for Renewal here. And oh, hello there. We see you crouching just in front of the lockers. No, trying to evade the killer instinct. It didn't matter. Just Cash knows the whereabouts and downs our survivor there. It was honestly a bad position to be in regardless. I know we were trying to evade the killer instinct, but you can still see through the lockers, and honestly, it just sometimes you're just met with the unfortunate fate of being caught with your pants down, as we like to put it. So Cash going to be taking these final hooks of the remainder of the trial, 4K3, and we did kind of think this was going to happen, just due to the nature of how this set has been played amongst seasons and who is actually playing the killer, amongst the build being brought in and him being able to capitalize in every instance. Sloppy Butcher and Eruption really aiding us, and even a little bit of pop goes the whistle for when we kick it the generator after being hooked. How you doing? But wow, crazy stuff from Cash here, Tavi.
Crazy stuff. We do get a little bit of Gospel managed to score themselves a 4K3 on the killer side. This is their pick though, of the Dredge. See if Renewal can get anywhere close to that as well. In my experience though, looking at the Gospel side of picking Dredge sets is not just picking Dredge because they have a very strong Dredge player. They also have a very strong Survivor side against the Dredge. They have consistently gotten really good results on the Dredge. Probably why they pick it, to be honest. But yeah, I've only seen really one team that in this region that can compete with them. And funnily enough, they've won the the title of winner of season X or whatever multiple times, which is the equivalent to Savage. Anyway, we're loading in here. Cash is going to have a very unfortunate start there, getting hit over that pallet, but I don't think it will matter too much. Seems like never mind, it will matter a lot because that is a down very, very quickly in the start of this trial. So if there is a time hunter for Renewal to maybe steal the set, this could be it with this start.
Yeah, get pinchy with it, honestly. It's just unfortunate he was caught straight off the rip and then just after the tag. I understand um, the hesitation to either to not choose to go mid into the courtyard where you could potentially be exposed to a locker emerge, or even bottom one to another one where there's like 4 lockers in your way and nothing locked in his vicinity. He just chose to go 12 and try to chase around to that dropped filler pallet to the best of his ability and win the 50, but ultimately did not aid him in any regard, as we do see Addict now just kind of caught here in the courtyard. And speaking of courtyard going down, we do manage to get Cash off the hook and healthy, so that's going to be no sort of tunnel out as it currently stands if we just get a quick flick around to our survivors, or slamming out Pistons and trying to play the slow game as opposed to going for any pulling shenanigans. And as far as builds go, we do see Corrupt Intervention being brought out in replacement for Wretched Fate. No, I can't remember what was the other Sloppy Butcher. No Sloppy Butcher, so the tags aren't going to be as detrimental as we do just evade the tag there. Cash now runs away from the window all the way down into the stairs where we see Yokai emerge back through the lockers onto Nu, now chasing and going for his freshers really early, trying to take advantage of that pain resonance. But I dare say once all those stacks have been gone, it can potentially be troublesome for our killer there, as we don't necessarily have a tunnel out. We do still have access to Ruin to push the survivors off the generators if we do need, but once that's gone in the trial, we're pretty much just a 2-perk Andy with only Eruption in hand. No Sloppy Butcher to be working with, and definitely I can't remember what else I was going to say, but regardless, we are going to be following up here onto Addict, who is using the infirmary room pallet, and that's going to be pre-dropped like it is hot. As we do make enough distance back into the bottom half of 5, we can potentially use the window laid out ever so nicely for us. Do we have life? We probably do. I didn't really get to check. I don't really care at this moment. Get it off my screen! There's no way! Oh, he does not win the stun on ping, and that's going to be Nu on the floor for potentially another pain resonance. Granted, there's one in our vicinity. We do manage to get the reset happening on in the background. All in the meantime, Andrew is really trying to slam on that generator, and he does hop off momentarily just to evade the pain resonance, but we know it wasn't a pain resonance hook being the spectators. We do manage to get you out the reset there. Oh my, Yokai is extremely locked in, trying to bait out the vault. Addict playing the check spots, does have the body from Cash if he does need it, and it is going to be used at the doorway, but we are going to be following up here back onto Addict, not choosing to chase Cash, really trying to cut him off there, but we've spotted out Andrew, and now we're chasing Andrew for our final, well, actually no, our second stack of third stack of pain res, considering we didn't quite get to use it on Nu, but we've interrupted the unhook, we've missed the swing. Andrew with the balance landing, able to just make a way. The indoor specialist man now using the crouches to his advantage is going to result in a tag now, and he's forced all the way into corner 5. We do see our survivors back up in the trial and running away, trying to recollect now, even with Sloppy Butcher not in the trial. Having this many tags on an indoor set with Dredge's ability can prove to be very bad. And we managed to get the pool as well. Andrew doing a little bit of motion with the ocean, going underneath the killer's nose and able to salvage the game. Very nice stuff, but we do need our survivors healthy as we pre-drop this pallet here over in bottom 3. We do have access to, I'm not too sure what's Cash's plan here, just playing very aggressive like, but Addict able to make that vault as well with life. He is the life player, as we were saying a little bit earlier, and now Cash forcing the locker, really trying to force those resets. We managed to get Nu and Andrew both healthy in the trial. Addict still injured, so we really need him healthy too. He was so close to being reset, as we saw in bottom 3 that he was being reset by Cash once upon a time. Able to finish it now, and the survivors back in the game, Tavi.
Wow, what a dynamic set of events. What how much variety there was in like game states. You know, there were generators flying, there were injury states going like between transitioning, and then it's all panned out to Gospel managing to stabilize this into 3 healthy survivors. Very impressive by them, to say the least, because at one point they had pretty much 2 injured, 1 on hook, 1 being chased. Oh dear, that could have been really bad, but that was just hypotheticals now. Again, that's all resolved, and Cash is off the hook now into basement. Luckily he can make it away, unlike what happened before. I believe there's a little bit more distance this time than compared to the previous trial, and he's just using the resources available, which in this case is going to be Nu taking a body block hit to extend distance. And if I'm not mistaken, there's still a pallet available on the map around this 11 area, but oh, okay, Yokai doesn't even care. He's not even going to go for the tunnel out. This time, though, Addict is the one to get the stun. This is the first time, I believe, that Pallet's being won in this trial by the survivors, and that's a huge amount of time being bought. I feel like without the tunnel out being committed and forced by Yokai now, it's just a matter of time before the survivors finish this off. Somehow gets on top, downs Nu, and Cash left stranded here, now has to run for his life, has the house available, but after this house, what is there left on the map? Unfortunate for Yokai there, but oh, nearly gets it down. This is going to be very close, but Cash is playing the check spots very patiently. He wins that one. Will book it away. This is the run of a lifetime here on the Midwich Elementary School. He makes so much distance away and will be able to make this God pallet here. He is just completely safe at the moment, and suddenly it's just gone back into the survivors' favor with how that one interaction came out. This second gen of the trial will pop very, very shortly. This position is starting to unravel for Yokai now. Can't really find all the injuries, can't find the pressure to follow up what was a beautiful start for perhaps one of the best comebacks for this series. And it is, yeah, I mean, is really unfortunate to see, but our survivors played that just beautifully, managing to just evade our killer just for just long enough so that you know, they could recover. Now, even though Andrew takes a hit for Cash here, Cash might be in a bit of a dangerous spot. I think they managed to get all the pressure reset, and yeah, they're in a very good spot, even if they don't pop a gen for this down, to just go for one more generator. Cash does go down. Andrew is still injured, but our other two survivors are healthy, and that is a great sign. But as I'm all hyping this up for our survivors, I just remembered Yokai still has Ruin. Still has Ruin in the trial. That's actually such a big asset for them, because you know just how bad Ruin is on S tiers. And the Dredge Hunter, this killer with Ruin is one of the most scary possible killers to exist. And as Nu's going to take this tag, what is the survivors' plan? They're going to go for the reset, but the gens surely cannot be that much. You know why, Hunter? Because of that Ruin. Nu goes down! And here's where the scramble starts for survivors, because they really want this gen done, but it's going to be extremely difficult if they make one small mistake.
Yeah, I agree. Oh my god, and it's really anybody's game here because you have two survivors both healthy in the trial, Nu on the hook, so it's advantageous for our killer that we have a hook at the moment, but we, you know, the amount of healthy survivors on the map all stealthing around and getting prepped up for either a gen or a save, they're still in it to win it as well. So it's anybody's game considering we only need one generator for our survivors, but we need to hold on to dear life for this tie condition if our killer is to take away the tie. And we do manage to get the... What? The FTP last second! And that's going to be Addict on the hook as well now. Nu back in the trial, all nice and healthy, but that does allow us to go and potentially teleport to his whereabouts. Or maybe he just never left at all. Sneaky, sneaky. And now we're going to be emerging through the lockers and then following up the chase here onto Andrew, who has just made away with the scratch marks leading into the bottom half of 8 now, trying to traverse up the stairs. And Yokai back on the case inside the lockers, comes out through, does see a potential reset happening. Addict's still broken from the FTP, so I am just lying through my teeth, but he is at least in the trial. Now we do need him down and out of the game if we are to move forward. He is now just greeting this pallet over at top 3. That's a weird camera angle, and we don't make the pallet before us. We've greeted a little too much, and we needed this chase to last. If we were really to pull this back for our survivors, this can potentially be the tie, and we have 2 survivors to show for it. Now keep in mind in OSL that the remaining stages that these guys have does still play in effect. We do have Andrew, who is particularly fresh in this instance, so we at least need him hooked to avoid any sort of fresh bleed out. But if we manage to get a last hatch, it will be the win going to Gospel as the rule set has it currently stands. We are going to be vaulting straight into the Remnant there. We are going to be following up onto Andrew after slapping him, balance landing away. Nu back on the case on that generator, but we don't want any of it. We can just go straight back onto this generator here over at 5. sorry, 4 straight back into 3, where the pallet drop has, oh wait, this is 8. Oh my god, even I'm disoriented sometimes with the classrooms, but that could just be due to my old man eyes. Nu forced to play the mind games here without a clue in the world. The guest spots coming in, and we do get tagged as a result of it. Andrew's still just stealthing at Macca's, so oh, it's just looking extremely dicey, and it's all just because this, you know, the ping, I guess, is just the best way that I can put it. A few misplays on the boys, but I'm pretty sure they'll pick up on that themselves. They are going to be going for a little bit of a reset there in a very nice spot. One that you particularly don't check too often, at least in the deep portion, but we are getting scarily close to 6, and maybe we might even just hear them as we do teleport back into the top half of 7. We are checking 8, but this is not the place we need to be checking. It is corner 7. They're all nice and healthy once more. There's the killer instinct, and we've dobbed them in. Oh no, breaking the doorway through and hitting the locker locks as well to just make it a little bit more accessible if we do need it. The remnant placement to try and block them, but they're both holding hands, trying to really escape through what they've been given here over at 6 door, sorry. We are going to be faking the vault too. Cheeky Nu, well, about a second time. Nah, he gets hit through that, and that's going to be him injured. He is really trying to make a way to 8 as well, into the corner, up the stairs, and oh, where do you go from here? Because I don't think Andrew has enough pressure on that other generator. We're forcing the locker here as well, and Andrew, even stealthing it out, needs to win the hatch here if he is to take away the game, and now Killer knows it. He's dropped Nu entirely, and we're back in the lockers, really trying to sniff out that killer instinct, but we don't manage to find out Andrew, as he is particularly crouched there over at top 12. I do believe he is currently, so Nu still on the floor there. It doesn't matter if he bleeds out, he will be allocated all stages towards our killer. So we really need to find Andrew in this instance here. We can't afford to give him up the hatch or a gate, because if he escapes, that will be just the win gone to gospel. We're really trying to just see where he's gone, as we do hit the locks off the locker. In the bush goes Andrew, just hiding it out. Yokai still clueless about Andrew's whereabouts. Maybe he just plays it safe and goes for the pickup onto Nu and just takes the hook stage, but no, again, hitting off the lockers, the locked lockers, still trying to stealth around. Well, sorry, look around for the stealth. But again, Yokai even going to check the basement, but I do think he should particularly check the courtyard. As once upon a time, I did actually come into contact with a few stealthing survivors on this map. They just played with Pebble and didn't bother doing generators, but in the meantime, they were all just in the courtyard all along, and this was a very new hunter about 1,000 hours into the game, so please do not ostracize me for being so terrible, but we are going to be looking into the lockers. Still no sight of Andrew. He is still over in courtyard, and we've checked everywhere but courtyard. We do see Nu just crawling away as well, so potentially even go for a trauma tech is what I want to see, Tavi.
Oh, I want to see a trauma tech at least be attempted. It has been a few millennium since I've seen a successful trauma tech. I actually tried trauma teching once. Yeah, you know, as I will say, in a galaxy far, far away, in its alternate universe and timeline where I actually did play competitive, I did, in fact, try Trauma Tech once, and that was really cool, but I don't think it amounted to anything. Yeah, I don't remember. Maybe I'm wrong. And if Gospel can do this, though, it would definitely shake this trial, shake things up yet again in this trial, if it's not shaken up already. Like, we can see why these teams are extremely competitive and went to, I don't want to jinx it, but 7 sets in the previous time. Maybe I did already jinx it, anyway. It's just, yeah, this gameplay is there's still a lot in this game. You can see by how Yokai is so locked in to trying to find Andrew in the past 3 minutes. By the way, it has been 3 minutes because Nu is going to bleed out very soon. And Andrew does not give a care in the world. Yokai, I think, has already assessed that. It's just stealthing somewhere around this map. We won't be able to find him with Killer Instinct thanks to the crouching. So it just has to, you know, spend the rest of the time checking every nook and cranny, but Nu's gonna bleed out, so at just in a bit, the hatch will spawn. Maybe Andrew can get hatched, maybe it's in the courtyard, maybe it's somewhere else downstairs. But there's still also the option of the gate to be worked on too. So just even though technically Yokai has met the tire condition of this trial, there still is gameplay. because Andrew, if he escapes, that is a win for Cosmo. So Nu's going to get hooked here. Yokai's going to buy themselves a little bit more time while the death animation is processed by the game. And in that time, Andrew's actually going to rotate off his stealthing spot. He understands that there is absolutely no way that he can work the gate, so he has to look for Hatch right now. It is going to be a race of time between these two players. They both know it. They don't want to give up the distance. This is Yokai just tailing Andrew just by a couple of centimeters, seeing where the Hatch could be. But I think one of them found... But no, Yokai actually teleported in front, and Andrew doubled back. What is this game of cat and mouse? Where is this? Because it's in bathroom. Where is this Hatch? Because wherever it is, whoever gets there first is going to be the one who wins or gets the better position in this set. Of course, Gospel can win, but the title comes in by Renewal. But Yokai actually sort of lost Andrew. Where is this Hatch? Andrew can't see anything. He has to rely on the visuals. Sorry, on the audios of the Hatch spawning. He didn't find it. Where is this Hatch? No! It was actually in bathroom all along, and Yokai closes it. Andrew, now on the back end, has to try open a gate. He's stealthing, knows that he's in the bad position here, because stealthing against a dredge with gates surely isn't possible to work a gate. But he's just going to send it. He does not have wake up on his builds, so will not be able to open the gate any faster than it already opens in the 20 seconds. Oh, he's trying the 15% tech. He's trying to stealth away. He will be able to just get by. He's right there, but was not spotted. But it all makes sense because Yokai is more focused on preventing the escape. Oh, he gets the killer instinct. Hunter, this is going to be a tie on the 4K3. 4K3 tie. 4K3.
Oh, just for a split second, we get the killer instinct. Oh, you hate to see it. And now Andrew just taking chase around the drop filler here over at bottom one. Doesn't really have anything to do here because if he does miraculously last for this long, all right, well, in a hypothetical sense at least, it doesn't even matter because dying to the end game collapse just remains all remaining stages to our killer, and we won't even see that pick. They can definitely still pull together with what we've been allocated. Slight mistake, and you'll see it in a bit, but I mean, you're up against Gospel, so every mistake does technically count because you don't want too many adding up. They will punish you for it. And as we spawn in, we do see our survivors here over at top. And if you haven't spotted it already, looking at the build, we have Thrilling Tremors instead of Corrupt Intervention. Now, our rule that we are enforcing this time around for those with a keen eye on our rule set is that you need to be submitting your builds 1 hour prior to your match. Otherwise, every 20 minutes will be a deduction in a high tier hook state penalty on your picked set. And due to that fact, having to have your build locked in before the match, if you make a crucial mistake like this, you are stuck with the perk. So it's just, you hate to see it. Now, it's definitely still workable as we have found our first chase. So if we can manage to get this down very quickly, it wouldn't even matter the fact that we didn't bring Corrupt, as we do get the tag onto Cash here. He is going to be trying to dispel the birds very quickly. There goes the double ruin straight off the rib. That is our perk, Undying gone. And now Cash is just forced to play this 50 pallet here, trying to make away with the distance and use the outer loop here, but forcing corner. And you know what? I don't necessarily hate this start for Renewal. They do get the quick down onto Cash here, so he hasn't had the chase that he particularly would have wanted. The boys straight on the totems as if they were never working gents at all. I don't even think they would have realized that there was no Corrupt brought into the trial as we do take the pickup onto Cash here. This is not going to be a pain resonance hook though in any regard, so it's not going to slow down the pressure of that first generator that we do see Addict on in the background there. He did hop off the generator just before that ruin was destroyed, so it is regressing a fair little bit just before that we just catch up and turn it to a non-regressing state if we do get pushed off it. But blankness now, trying to really sniff out that next chase, and we do see Nu just traversing here over towards one, ready to take the next chase of the game around the matchstick tiles where we do vault the L-law loop. There goes the one bird, and unfortunately we're just forced to run into the killer, take the distance, take the hit, and go down the middle of the map. But we cannot go down in the middle because that will prove to be problems, especially since we haven't gotten Cash off the hook just yet. And now our killer has clicked onto that fact and is going to try and intercept the unhook just happening before his eyes. 3, 2, 1. There goes the last the first generator of the trial, and the unhook in the background there. Cash now eating the birds, does still have that endurance status effect to last with, maybe for an extra 5 seconds, no, maybe even less. He does manage to make the pallet there, but the bird in his face, he is not having a good time. Unfortunately, going down in the middle of it all. Once he is picked, he is still eligible for pain resonance, which will slow the game down, as we do see a hook there just laid out for us over at 2. We are going for a deeper hook, though. We are taking the priority of maintaining our 3-gen potentially here over at bottom, as to oppose of hooking conveniently for pain resonance. So honestly, we've seen this been done before on these choke maps, particularly in ARP. I'm not too sure why, but ARP just tends to be that. I guess there's a little bit more line of sight over at top as to oppose of suffocation pit, but I guess it does kind of pan out the same kind of way. Having a hook here over at 1 and being able to press the survivors off these generators here simultaneously can prove to be problematic, as we do see the crows just straight back onto Andrew. He is forced off that generator over at 11 and almost getting sniped with another set of crows here. So Blankness, well versed in this kill of the artist, shows why they picked it. Huge W's for Renewal as it currently stands. We see the rotating survivor for the pool. That is Addict on the near, just stealthing around too. We do snipe Andrew again with the birds there, but can we get the injure? It doesn't even matter at this current time, because we managed to get the pull for a trade. And now with Addict on the floor, we are going to be following up back onto Cash here, who's just rotating into the middle of the map. There go the birds, and it's not quite working out in our killer's favor, but it doesn't even matter, as we do have an extra 5 seconds left with BT. No, Cash goes down again. Nothing to save him this time. No hit, no beamer, no DS, no nothing. He has gone out of the trial at 3 generators remaining. There goes the Thrilling Tremors proc as well to slow the game down just a little bit more. There goes the pain resonance too, and it doesn't hit anything because of the Thrilling Tremors, so coming back to bite him in the ass. Oh, it's a horrible perk to be bringing in an instance like this, but at least it does keep the survivors off the generators momentarily. It doesn't even matter, since Andrew went for the pickup anyway, so he was never working 11 in the first place. Does hit the tag there just before the hit onto Addict. Addict now with the crows. Who do we want to pick? Can we get both of them in the same instance? No. We do connect the birds, but we dispelled them in time on the side of Addict, and he's running all the way down into the bottom half of the map here, trying to make for a nice death location far away from these gens. And in all honesty, especially since Thrilling Chums, I do believe works on a radius, it won't affect the gens this time around over at top. So if we do manage to down Addict in a few moments here, slapping him on a pain resonance can be proved to be pretty problematic for good old Andrew sitting over at 11.
It's funny how we were all saying that, we were all believing that the Thrilling Tremors would not do as well as Corrupt Intervention, and yet I do believe that the pick of Thrilling Tremors is getting quite a bit of value, apart from that one time where Pain Resonance is blocked from the Thrilling Tremors. But it's actually going to be a very nice information perk going into this 3v1. You can tell what generators are being worked on. We saw there when the tunnel out was happening onto Cash that Thrilling Tremors showed that one of the generators was red, that Andrew's generator was red, so it was being worked on, and it just got harassed on that generator way too much. And that is exactly why, everyone, there are still 2 generators who are survivors to complete in this trial. So it's just, yeah, well, okay, maybe not because of Thrilling Tremors, but the events that have led up to this have just, yeah, I think have panned out really nicely for Renewal. The unhook comes through by Nu, but it's still looking very difficult for our survivors at the moment. The generators are all stuck on this, I believe this is, sorry, I'm losing my location and awareness here. I believe this is the bottom side where this chase is happening, and I'm pretty sure all the generators are on the top side. So it is just like they managed to pop like so many generators in one area of the map, but have just completely neglected this entire top side, which is a huge problem going into this 3v1. Artist, not the most map present of killers, but still does have a lot of potential issues when trying to recover from pressure. Especially now, when you've got 3 in the trial. Gospel did pop the the clean break on Andrew, so that is going to be a really nice reprieve for them. But they're just taking the time to slow this trial down to get the resets so they can have a better chance of going for the generator setup in this. Because yeah, look at this fairly monster topside 3-gen on the map. So yeah, in just a second though, I think the resets will come through. Andrew actually might be found, but I think he's on the other edge of the map, so he's safe for now. Will not be revealed by the killer instinct. And I think, yeah, it's going to be a nice reset for both our sides here. And we're heading into this 2v1 with maybe a little bit more hope from our survive side. Ooh, okay, we did just check this area though, but there's nobody here. So just maybe a couple of seconds too late to find that, and the reset comes through, and there's also a notification at mid. So yeah, now I would say the trial begins, but there's certainly a lot of counterplay. There's certainly a lot of play that both our sides can make here if they want to go for the results that they want. In this case, very unlikely now, but a 4K2 could happen for Renewal. But of course, Gospel are chasing to pop at least 2 generators in this situation, because they actually, I think that reset was really beneficial for them, and it will allow the chases to be much longer, which means that the gens can be much more of a threat in the resulting couple of minutes. So yeah, there's not really many perks actually left for our artist player here. There's just 1 Pain Resonance and 1 Thrilling Tremors, but that is not bad going into a 3v1 on tower. It's better than having 0 perks. And maybe, again, that Thrilling Tremors might come out to clutch certain situations.
I do agree too. I mean, granted, we can get our downs in because everybody nice and healthy as it currently stands, but they are infected with the birds here. Can we get a quick snipe? We can, but it's after we've cleansed the birds, I do believe. Or maybe we never actually hit Nu in the first place and it was only Addict. I didn't really get a good look at that, but regardless, we are going to be getting rid of those crows. Straight back down to 8. Andrew back on the gens over our top side. That's going to be the tag on to Nu. Do we follow up here, or do we elect to leave? And we've elected to leave, go back to middle, try to press off Addict off that generator over at bottom mid, and he's forced over into top now where the gens all are, so he cannot afford to go down there. But that being said, he's going to be kicking bottom mid straight back on the case here, really looking for Addict or Andrew even. So do manage to find Addict just stealthing here over at the edge map, and we are going to be taking up another chase, so he's kind of forced to eat the bird there over at the pallet. Mighty unfortunate stuff for our killer, but does manage to get the snipe there, so he's forced over into A, and Andrew and Nu back on those gens straight off the rip into the L wall here over at A. Addict really has to last if he is to pull a better result for his team. Dodges the birds very nicely. Does it make the window? No, he doesn't. Not in time, at least. After that vault there, we are going to be slugging and trying to press Nu off that generator over at bottom mid, but Andrew's generator getting so close to being done, and I dare say it's going to at least pull it back to the 4K1, and the split will be mean. The split will be mean. It's no longer that cluster 3-gen over at bottom because it'll be broken. But that being said, to do anything with that, Nu has to last. Nu has to be alive for this to happen. And then, you know, this chase means a whole lot more than what we're anticipating. We get the stun. No, and that extends it. No, and he's lasted even longer to use his pallet to the best of his ability to last, to just keep alive in this game. And I said he needed a crazy chase, an impeccable chase, and he's done that exactly as he does rotate around the car again and just full send it with no worries in the world. He's too far away for the birds to be a threat. Actually, I'm lying. They are close enough. I thought he was a little too far away, but I've been stood corrected. He's going to be going down. It's going to be the hook onto Nu. Pain Resonance as well to kind of... Oh, actually, no, because there's no progress on the map. Interesting, because the only... Oh, wait, actually, no. No, okay, because Thrilling Tremors apparently doesn't work on a radius. So why was I underneath the impression that it did? Wait, does it? Can we get our spectator to hover over the Thrilling Tremors? Because, honestly, I have not used this perk in 100,000 years. I only know it blocks after you pick somebody up. Whenever you pick up a survivor, generator not being opened are blocked for 16 seconds cooldown, so it's just the ones that you're not working. It doesn't work off a radius. I do apologize to people that would have picked that up a little bit earlier. I'm spitballing a whole bunch of crap, but it's not every day you see Thrilling Tremors be brought into a trial, so yeah, that's gonna hurt it's gonna hurt us. That is gonna hurt us. Pain Resonance only Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Anyway, we're gonna be trying to press off our serves off these generators here. Not quite working them just yet. I think they're just crouching around where the birds are being pushed. No, at least that's what it leads me to believe as we do just stare into Nu's ultimate demise. Andrew, sorry, back on the case there over at the bottom half of the map. But we do have Addict ready for the pull for when the killer does elect to leave this hook. Does manage to put his birds straight in front of the hook again and really trying to bait out Addict, but the patience is there. W stuff from Addict, and we are heading, as it currently stands, if my math serves me correctly, to the 13-minute mark or something close towards that. So it's been a fairly long trial again, and I think you're in for a few long ones considering the nature of these teams. They are very competitive and they know the game very well. They know when things are getting dicey to just slow it down, and that's what you're in for, is just a long game. And we do see the generator that Andrew's been working here over at top as we do take the kick and the break. No eruption procced onto it. No pop goes the weasel. It's just, it is just hit with that little bit of a 5% regression rate. Again, my values could be wrong, but I think it's 5% as you do take a dry kick onto the generator. Sorry, a normal kick onto the generator. It's not a dry kick because it has so much progress on it. So still, again, choosing to stand in the middle of the map, and that's going to allow the survivors over our bottom to get that reset happening. We do manage to get the birds onto our survivors there, just force them off the generator over at bottom mid. So they are definitely well and truly in their means to pull out from a scenario like this. Andrew has to be extremely careful going through a shotgun. 3, 2, 1, shotgun. Oh, he's been shot. Get him a medic because he's in a whole lot of trouble right now. He is trying to use the liquid shack to the best of his abilities, and we are going to throw up the birds there in the corner of the map, and we do not hit him for the second time around, but again, surely it just goes through the window, and there's not really much he can do. Once that vault comes in, that's going to be the bird straight onto him, and he's down once more. We see the survivors both pressing that generator over at the bottom half of the map, and after we take this hook onto Andrew, I'm not too sure. Yeah, the thrilling tremors does not save us, so we know they're working that gen. That's some good info, but we do not make the pain resonance in time. Oh, the RNG is not favorable to us, and you hate to see it if you're really rooting for Renewal here. Regardless, up goes the birds, not connecting with anybody because there's nobody there. They are just kind of in their own worlds. One on an exit gate straight off the rip. That's new. Addict. They might even just let Andrew die here. I wouldn't even say that playing for the remaining stage is actually worth it in this instance, but yeah, new death hook, ideally. Want to find Addict, down Addict, hook Addict. Do we have enough progress on that gate? We've led him to the gate. Problems team, we're potentially 4K0. We have eyes on both killers. I do believe I'm not too sure where the other exit gate was. I didn't really pay attention rather, but we do manage to shoo the birds away. Addict again once more does dodge those crows nicely, and that could have been really bad, but opening the gate is new. And he's going back for Andrew as well. Very risky move if Addict were to go down preemptively here, which he isn't. He is extending the chase for a pretty long time, doing a mighty fine job at that, but we are going to be playing for his extra 2 stages for the 10 stages as a total allocated to us, and I dare say that Nu and Andrew will just be taking the remaining outs, not playing for the 9-stage game. That will not make any sense under any capacity, so going to be hooking Addict in the basement as well. So it just kind of further solidifies that he will be removed from the trial. And yeah, Andrew's saying, screw that, just leave, bro. It's not worth it. And they're going to take that 10 stage. So would Corrupt really make a difference there? Potentially not. And I remember the days when Gibbsy was just starting out in competitive. People would say, Gibbsy gone crazy, Gibbsy gone crazy. And, you know, with 2 years in his back pocket now, with experience, you can definitely see why this man tends to go crazy amongst every killer that he plays. So does not I'm not surprised. This is exactly why. Getting a snipe right off the rip there, my god, and that's going to set him up for success in the long run as we do try to do a little bit of mind games on Dog around the shack, but he's just W'd away entirely, completely. But we missed the birds just by the skin of our teeth there as we do drop the pallet here. That's going to be another set of birds going up to deny us. So we've made enough distance to kind of negate the fact that we will be going down by the birds. Ultimately going down just over that 4 to 5 section. So Do see in the background a double happening by ADHD and Sky, so they're really trying to slam out that first generator of the trial, trying to fix the first chase not being as long as they would have liked. And there's the com to get off the gen, and they do so successfully. So it is a middle generator, I think, if I caught a glimpse of that correctly. But regardless, Gibbsy now going to be checking over towards the other bottom part of the map. But yeah, this is I failed to realize who's in chase here. Yeah, Claudette dropping the pallet preemptively and trying to play around the short side here. Does vault into the loving embrace of Gibbsy, and he's going to capitalize on that. That's a nasty looking tag, and he can just go back, protect his hook, maybe even kick the gens if he does see anybody with any of them with a fair bit of progress. But in comparison to our last trial, we see an instance where there are 4 generators over at the bot side as opposed of the top side of the map, so maybe it's a little bit more manageable for Gibbsy. I know Shack tends to be a little bit more of a usable loop here other than the Liquid Shack. Oh my god, we're getting tapped here by ADHD, and you can't really fault him in any regard. It's just the fact that we had to unhook from deep within the map with not limited resources to be able to use limited line of sight. And again, Gibbsy just on that front foot here. Pain Resonance as well, hitting one of those gens in the far distance, as we do see our Claudettes just trying to make a way with their life in hand. Dog injured as well, going for a double reset over at 10 more so. Can potentially see them with the crows there, though. I'm not too sure where they were dispersed, but we do see actually one of the crows, the spy from the shadow themselves, just dobbing out that there's somebody going for a reset in this area. And we did not catch on to that, but maybe we are looking at 10, so maybe we're thinking that, yeah, it definitely is 10, but the reluctance to go check because we want to put pressure on that hook, as well as find out any other info on what gens are being worked currently and everything else in the trial. We do hear... Actually, no, we don't hear nothing. I apologize. I thought I heard the crackling of a fire bin. Yeah, we did. Okay, and I mistook that from for a totem, but when I look at the build that's being brought in, wait, is Ron in Shack? Is Ron broken? I know. No, yeah, it's okay. It's gone from the trial. Am I right, Tavi?
I believe it is, because the perk icon is not lit up right now. I'm honestly more surprised by when you said spies from the shadows, because you just stole Feather right from my book, or a page from my book. Feather, okay, yeah, let's not talk about Feather from my cap. Yeah. Spies from the shadows, really? Is that a DBD reference?
Yep.
Doesn't really matter though, because...
it's a law-accurate reference, I'll have you know.
Oh, law accurate. Okay, I really gotta keep myself in the loop, Feather. That's law. Anyway, as we've been yapping over that, I think Gibbsy is just in a really comfortable position here. He's already got 4 hook stages towards the 11 total for the win condition, and with 4 generators left for our survivors to complete, that is perhaps, you know, a bit of a problem, because in my opinion, I feel like they should have more progress done for the amount of time that this trial has been going on for. Sky actually managing to get away from that, dodges the bird too, so just buys a little bit of extra time with his M1 while heading back to the top side of the map. And now Gibbsy, okay, might be a little bit stranded here, but at least knows what to do. He just needs to try and secure a tunnel out, or just secure the pressure on the board. So our survivors are always going to be on the back foot here, and it seems like Lucky Boy will make the pallet, runs through it though. That's very smart play, because that means that we can maybe make another one, but no, it is not close enough, and he's going to go down again. So at least managed to change the death location from the bot side to the top side. Maybe that will allow some plays to happen. Maybe Gibbsy might not allow plays to happen. He's just going to hook here around this mid area and figure out what to do next, which again, I think he's got a lot of control for the trial, given that the artist is supposed to be a really weak killer in terms of like map presence. I don't think the birds count as map presence, but it's not like movement map presence like the blight. So having that huge amount of gens like as buoyancy, like as a safeguard, I guess. For later on in this trial, I think is going to give Gibbsy a lot of confidence to go for this. I think Sky somehow actually makes it over that pallet. I'm not sure if Gibbsy was expecting him to vault or not, but he's actually just going to take the bird to the face and continue this chase around Shaq, but he gets downed. So that's an extremely nice bird by Gibbsy. But I think that chase was pretty good though, Hunter. So like they do manage to stabilize a few of the generators for this. Boil over, wow. They would have managed to stabilize, but Painless comes through. So yeah, Gibbsy somehow just got 4 gens left, and all he needs is like 4 more hooks. So that is just a really ideal scenario for him.
Yeah, he's in a very good position right now. 4k4 at this very moment, so we're going to be kicking over at 8 here too, and we do see the stealth happening from our ace, but when is the right time to go for the pull? Who knows? As Gibbsy just puts the birds back on the gen and like covers the ground, all while simultaneously making the survivor ready for the pull scared. Like they don't know when to go for the pull. I think they're just playing a little bit patient. Actually, they probably do know when to go for the pull, but Gibbsy again just like ping pong like a ball in between everything and just being able to do so many things at once right now. Even though despite the game being at a halt, but slowly progressing for our survivors. Yeah, this is just going to be very slow as we do pressure with birds over at the hook. It's just kind of your stock standard projectile gameplay where you don't really have any real reason to leave this vicinity, but you really need to secure the second stage onto your tunnel out here. And there it is, 3, 2, 1. That's Sky going to second stage as we do see Ace just rotate off the pool, and we've had a slight change of heart. All in the meantime, we probably could have just been pressing a generator after a failed save like that, because maybe we'll just reattempt it. That's probably the smartest play. A dog just setting up for the rock there, just in case I think our other survivor gets into chase. Yeah, there goes Ace again, just straight back on the generators too, so it's a little bit of a weird one as we do approach another generator being popped in the background there by Lucky Boy. There is going to be 2 generators remaining, and as it currently stands, if we look at the scorecard, it is 7 stages allocated towards us. They cannot afford to give up 3 more because that will be the tie. They cannot afford to give up 2 more because that will be, or after, they can't really afford to give up after 2. 2's the win, 3's a tie, and 4, they just lose. So that's how many stages they can afford to give up in terms of what results we can expect. Gibbsy now just going to be denying any sort of pull happening onto Sky. Now, is the body block strong enough? There was ready for the double save once upon a time. ADHD, I feel like if you were going to play for that, you needed to run in and help out Dog. I don't know what the play was there, but now we have a tunnel out gone. Lucky Boy on a generator. Dog in a position where he really needs to last in the middle of the map here, and he's not going to do so after greeting the pallet there. He's going to be getting slapped after the window. That's the eruption proc onto 8 as well, so we do hear a sad little Claudette over in the bottom half of the map just cries out for help after the eruption proc on the generator there. So going to be hitting the pain resonance hook with no stacks, so no kind of regression happening from that hook there, but it is going to be more pressure applied due to the birds being pressed over to where the generators are. As we have crouched next to the lockers, we will not get the killer instinct, but we know that Claudette was once upon a time in this area. It doesn't even matter. So stealthing around the lockers probably wasn't the smartest play, but we have just won the 50-50 mind game over at the pallet there. Won another one too. There's $100 in hand. Can we count the 50s? No, we are going to be going down, so not a lot of money brought home, but we are going to go for this pickup here facing into the edge map, and we got our ace playing for some sort of a beamer pull there, but it doesn't really matter because I do believe this will be the tie if we do manage to get this hook. Yeah, so like there's only 2 stages to spare amongst both survivors, and somehow, some way, if they were to tie this, they would need all generators popped and all stages out the door. And when you got Gibbsy as your killer, I just find that that would just never be the case. And he's playing wacky mind games that do pay off in the long run. And we've ran into the birds. We are infected with all birds at our disposal. We can do 3, 2, 1, shotgun. Say it with me. Never mind. We've ran into the opposite side, so we don't get hit by the birds. Okay, fair. But we are going to be utilizing this window, and we're going to be making the fast bolt there, but still no shack pallet to our advantage. And again, there go the birds. Playing it extra slow here. Gibbsy now does not get the connection, but does so after the window. So ADHD did fairly good in that chase to kind of preserve a little bit longer. We are going to be trying to hold on to the 4K2 there instead of playing for the win condition. So we will be pressing dog off of that generator sitting over at 4. He is just going to be forcing the locker here, and I'm not too sure what the play is here, but he's going to be forcing the grab, and that will be the end of this trial. 4K2 win of the set going to Gospel. You think that cash would be on the Oni for Gospel, but no. Gibbsy gone crazy on the Oni. So, wow. It's going to be a treat to see this man once again on the Oni. You saw it in the grand final, and he took away the set off of Chinese Dragons, aka Long. Can he do it again versus Renewal? I'm a humble believer. If I had to put my money where my mouth was, I'd say 4K1, but hey, that's all in hypothetical sense because I'm poor. But let's go and see what is in the cards for us at the moment. Spawning in on the bottom half of the map, we are going to be taking chase here on the top half over at 10. We do see Lucky Boy here. One Lucky Boy trying to use everything he can over at this little gym here over at 10, as we do take the window over at main. We're going to be vaulting it and just following up here. Superior anatomy over bamboozle and brutal strength. This man is cooking, and we get Bloodlust 1 as a result of it after emerging through that window very quickly. That's going to spell the tag onto Lucky Boy, and now he's just kind of forced to just run around main after just eating that tag so early. Gibbsy's happy to just kind of leave him over at top, as we know he'll be leaking blood, and that's a very crucial spot that you don't want to be leaking blood over at, especially in the late game with the Cold Tower 3 Gen to your disposal. As we do try and collect the blood orbs for the power, we are pretty content in just chasing up here. There goes the superior anatomy again, so maybe Gibbsy is onto something, as we do have power in hand. We probably want to leave this now. We don't want to spend too much time chasing somebody who's not in chase, just constantly vaulting the main window. So going to be breaking this generator over here with Eruption, and we do still have access to all of our pain resonance stacks, as we haven't downed anybody, so I'm just elaborating on the build. I also do believe he brought in Fang and Crutch, if I do recall correctly. We do know of the next build being brought in, but I just don't particularly remember what Gibbsy brought in. I anticipate that's what he would have brought in, considering that's the way he did it last time around. But pretty stock standard build aside from the superior anatomy, I can't lie. Now he's just trying to look for a stealthing survivor here, somebody that he can pop power on and just take advantage of a very favorable chase. He does see the crows land in the middle of the map, so he knows somebody's nearby. As we do spot somebody out over at main, it's going to be ADHD. Just trying to use the best of the window there. Superior anatomy coming in once more, but I don't think it quite aids our killer. Actually, no, it didn't even proc, I don't think. I'm not quite too sure, but we're going to be downing ADHD, who's just gave Gibbsy a good old smooch. And now we're going to be just hooking him over towards one, somewhere where the pain resins are. How about in the middle of it all, where the action is? This can prove to be a troublesome hook, alongside the one that is behind main, tending to be very, for lack of a better term, just horrible for the survivors. It is probably the second most detrimental place to be hooked in a set like this. And oh my god, that Bolt Oni with speed is just a force to be reckoned with. My god, he is just absolutely incredible right now. Getting that down and going all the way down into the bottom section of the map. Surely we can catch somebody off guard. Does he go around the long side of Shaq? I'd love to see it. Playing the 50-50 mind game at the window, but does take precedence of the pallet there, as it has been pre-dropped in our face. But we are going to elect to go back to the hook here to deny any sort of pull, but we're playing extra patient from our survivors. PZ just kind of happy to sit limbo over in the edge map until power runs out, but Sky playing aggressive on that generator. I was about to say maybe Gibbsy actually goes back and downs Sky, but I dare say with a couple of seconds left on power, he's not going to want to spend any more unnecessary time over in sections of the map that don't really mean too much. With a slug on the floor, he's really just camping out the second stage onto ADHD, who is on the hook. Lucky Boy up in the trial and at him again. 2 stages on the board currently at 5 generators remaining. This is definitely looking pretty grueling for our serves, but ADHD hasn't yet hit the second stage, but does so now. And a superior anatomy coming in once more, and I'm pretty sure the competitors would be a little bit more confused on the fact that, hey, why is the bro vaulting the window so quickly? How is he catching up so fast? Is he cheating? Maybe not. Maybe it's just a weird perk being brought into the trial. We do pre-drop the filler pallet on the outside of main there, heading more towards 12 to just save us just a little bit, but we barely missed a swing on our Jake PZ, and now ADHD with the blocking there, but has to make a pallet after doing so. Oh, I don't know. Does he make that window? He does. It's too close. I can't look.
Oh my god, he didn't even swing for it. Okay, Gibbsy knows the timing, knows he can go for the hit. Now through the pallet! Oh! But he is on a pallet, so if there's anybody near for a pallet save, I don't think so. And only one generator gone. I thought, you know, being this long, you would have anticipated at least another gem pop. And maybe you might see it in a second, but I didn't really see how much progression was on that doubling, but they are doubling, so it is going to go a lot faster. Actually, no, they weren't doubling. Wait, were they? No, they were, but now they're going for a reset over at the gen over at 8. That makes total sense. Anyway, we do see Sky here, just with balance landing in hand. We are going to be kicking this main generator here, and that's going to be ADHD completely out of the game. Gibbsy swinging, dropping. Now, he's unstoppable right now. I'll give him that, Tavi. He's unstoppable.
Yeah, I was waiting for that cue for a while. But it's all good. you are locked into that, and I think Gibbsy was too. Oh my god, like the anatomy pick. I swear no one would have thought of that. No one would think ever to bring superior anatomy into a competitive match. But I think Gibbsy is all too aware of the tech of you know, having the faster vault. Sorry, not having the window blocked off doesn't matter when the ping is so high. Like, you just want to get through that window as quickly as possible and catch the survivors off guard, and I think that's exactly what happened to our survivors in this trial. Doesn't matter though, in this case, superior anatomy is not going to do much, as it is PZ going down on the edge map of 7, but he's just going to get picked up. There's still a fair amount of power left on Gibbsy's Demon Fury, so yeah, like with the amount of blood that's still left on the map, I don't see a world this is not 4K. I don't see a world where this is not 4K at high generators. Like, I'm talking about 3 or 4, which is an insane result for Gibbsy to try and put on for us tonight. But yeah, I think that superior anatomy, yeah, I love that pick for sure. I'm sure you do too, Hunter. As we do continue this trial though, it's a couple blood orbs around here. I believe now is just the last blood orbs that were dropped by ADHD. Now it's out of the trial, but it's going to just slowly progress towards that 100% bar, which is surely going to come soon by my inference of just general inference of the Oni Pow. But he's going to find a little bit more. So here comes the 1 orb. That's going to be enough to unleash the Demon Fury. Now he's got another around 55 seconds of this dash that will maybe result in the game being over. We do find 2 survivors here. Sky is going to be safe for the time being. Gibbsy's going to take PZ as payment instead, and just going to pick him up. Actually, does not really care that Sky is right here around the generator. Doesn't want to go slug for it, but I guess maybe the pain resonance might come in. No, the pain resonance did not come in. So I think Sky does get the gen done. It's very, very close to being done. It is done, but how do you progress from here? How do you progress from here, Renewal? Because you are kind of dead. So is Sky, by the way. Sky just takes that one to the back and it's on the floor now. So yeah, I think it's just really well played by Gibbsy. There's no way that Lucky Boy gets away with this. Yeah, he's stealthing though. Even if he does get the pick up and Gibbsy somehow fumbles a lot in this Demon Dash power, this still remains to see, like, for those survivors to reset and get all the gems done too. So yeah, Hunter, I think it's just, wow, Gospel just showing up here in this 3rd set. Oh, well, wait. I guess this the blendette or something? It doesn't matter though, because yet again, I do believe this trial is all but over.
Potentially, as we do follow up here with the last chase of the trial. I'm not even too sure if that was intentional, that he just did the drive-by comeback. Maybe it was going for something a little bit fancy, as we do know Gibbsy likes to do from time to time again. But there goes the superior anatomy vault there onto PZ, who now is forced to use the LNT, and I don't think he makes the L because of superior anatomy. Nah, he does! W's from PZ, but he is fighting all for naught, unfortunately, because it is looking like the 4K 4K3, and unless he manages to somehow pull up both survivors on the ground miraculously, but I just don't see a world where it is possible. Look at these Bloodlust 1 mind games coming in. Gibbsy, you're mind gaming yourself, buddy. He's just W'd away from the pallet all the way down into 3, where he has the RNL to be working with, so he is going to be preemptively... Actually, no, he's going to be greeting it. Very nice work from PZ, but greets the short filler too, tries to get the stun off, doesn't pay off, and in return we get nothing. You lose, good sir, and that is a hit through the pallet, and that is going to be the 4K3 solidified. Granted, we can find all remaining fresh hooks in the trial there, so yeah, there they are, just kind of bundled up. They're ready to just get underway with the next half of the set here, which they will need a 4K4 to take it away against Gospel. Against in an Oni set, I don't know. Honestly, I just don't see it happening. But again, we have to come into these things with the idea of everything is possible, nothing is impossible, and you have to always look on the bright side. So if you're looking on the bright side, you just kind of have to force the error on the survivors, regardless of the fact that they won't be making too many of them. You just have to make sure that you're just, I guess, aggressive. And unfortunately, Bulls Killer, the Gospel lineup will be New Cash Addict and Andrew, your stock standard goats for this team. All the players tonight that have been playing are the goats. What am I saying? Division 1 doesn't get any better here in OSL. But that being said, I do have a familiar face with me on the casting desk. It is no longer Tavi, as he has to leave us to cast for a different org at a different time. So we thank him for his time here. But Sir Nosy, how are we feeling about good old Yokai on the Oni?
Mate, like, I'm fucking into it. I've been here for 6 hours. Legitimately, this Oni set fucking has me going, bro. Like, we saw one previously played by the Diamond Dogs against what was, I believe, Renewal, unless I'm smashed. I actually have no idea I was reffing that game, so I should probably know. Oh shit, I'm bad. But like those games were really close in terms of stages. But I reckon in this game, we're actually gonna see some high full games, especially from Yokai coming in.
Yeah, definitely. He did perform very well amongst his Dredge set, so hopefully he can uphold the same degree on the Oni set. So he is not going to be taking that chase over at Shaq. He knows it's disadvantageous to him, so he's opted to go for something a little more in his favor, particularly Cash, who is just caught here over at main. Does need to win this pallet, though, if he is to escape unharmed, or even the window. Why not? It's laid out nicely for you. There you go. It's just there for you to use. We are going to be vaulting their back vault there, but no bamboozle. We did not bring a comfort perk, and I know we don't particularly need one, but they do aid you in that first M1 chase here. So Cash is able to really capitalize on that and now use this pallet here over at corner 11. We are going to be trying to play the mind games to really get this first tag. Bloodlust 2 in hand. We do lose the 50, but we swing it, hit a whole bunch of nothing. Absolutely crazy.
Like, how the... So yeah, he's just won 50 into 50, and just, like, gotten a slight haircut, a little off the back, please, Mr. Oni. And then we just give him the tag now after the first gen pop. Like, dude, Gospel's in a fucking stellar position right now. Like, Cash moving back up to 11, dying in just an absolute goated death spot, straight into the corrupt regen. Honestly, it doesn't matter, because when your win con is just so easily accessible, like what, pop 3 gens, pop 4 gens, like, it's just like that, just dying in that one spot. And he's forced power. Wait, we'll see him big leave. Oh, we're gonna get a snipe, bro. Straight on the 5. Come on, you need to get back in the game.
Oh,
Andrew,
pops in his
big
face.
ball in it, but dies for the gen. Honestly, with the amount of, like, with the reality of the win con, die in front of this gen is, there's nothing to it. Like, Yokai can still get a 4K, but it's looking pretty chopped. He's gonna have to get power. He's gonna have to find Cash first of all. He's gonna have to down Cash, get power, and then just slug his, like, everyone. Right, have a little bit of slug farm maybe. But seeing that room get cleansed as well, leave them with, what, Eruption Painers? Some very, very strong mid-game, late-game kind of perks. But in terms of the win con, you got to be getting that early game, not even like mid-game. You got to get that massive amount of early game pressure, which he just hasn't been able to actually get as a result of Cash just getting a slight haircut and those gens just flying by. We see Cash win 250s back-to-back. And yeah, he's going to make his midfielder as well. Oh, that's unfortunate for Yokai. What do you think, Hunter?
Cash knows his killer, man. Cash knows his killer. Look at this. Check spots on the filler over in mid as well. Still power in hand. He probably could even leave this and go for somebody healthy. Oh no, the panic pop. That's a panic pop if I've ever seen one. He's trying to hold on to dear life as we do see Andrew rotate to the window just inside Shack. That just allows us to use the pallet over in Shack. Sorry, pre-dropping that as well. Just cutting off our killer, winning the 50 there too, and even stunning him in the process. Now trying to play the little short rock and reading the break efficiently. He's going to be able to use his is that balance landing? Oh wait, no.
It was balance landing trying to get used, but
yeah, that's horrible.
It's just right through it, right?
All right, and we're just going to be hooking him here at the basement too. We do manage to find stealthing Nu ready for that pull as well, but we only can afford to give up one more generator, which will be popping imminently, and a stun to top it all off. This will be the series going to Gospel.
I had hopes going into this that Yokai could pull something out of the Magician's hat, and all things considered, he definitely has amassed a fair amount of pressure. But just given the win con that Gibbsy set, like, it would be hard for any killer to achieve, let alone Oni. But I guess, like, the ping would have something to do with it. But at the same time, when you're versing a team like Gospel, you gotta just factor in that previously they were like titans of OC, and they still are even to this day. And with their biggest rival 2 Savage pretty much kind of stagnating, splitting, Gospel is in contention for the best OC team right now. And we see Andrew proving exactly why, because he's a big chungo and he's just body blocking the shit out of that Oni so that Nu can stay up. But honestly, gain the tunnel, Andrew here. Yeah, fair enough. Get some of that anger out, Yokai. It's all good, mate. We understand.
Yep, and that's another pick in the wacky camera angle. Oh my god, please get it off the screen of Andrew. And that's an ugly looking Oni POV there as we do take the kick onto the generator just here over at 3. Yokai now back on the front foot. He does have a tunnel out at 1 generator remaining, so he can potentially hold on to the 4K1. It is pretty hard with this kind of a split. Now, with the amount of blood on the map, I definitely think, and especially after hearing the build, that this is Fang and Hull being brought into the competition. And based off the speed, there is no Aikido's crutch. So, you know, even though we got the stock standard build on the right-hand side, minus the ruin for a comfort perk like Brutal or Bamboozle, the add-ons are also a wacky choice, at least in my opinion. I know a lot of people stand by this, that you don't need crutch. And you know what? Fair enough to your playstyle if you're not getting flicky with it, if you're just playing extra safe, because I would agree in that aspect. But with certain people who like to run the Oni 4 power and know how to do so effectively, cough, cough, long bottom, it can prove to be the wrong choice to some degree. And maybe you might even be seeing it into effect there, as we could have potentially caught Addict a little bit earlier if we did bring in the crutch, but again, that's all hindsight. It doesn't really matter. We are still getting the down and the hook over into corner 7, where we do see Cash and Nu probably split across the map there. Nu getting his gen hit by Pain Resonance, and Cash just forced off of his one too. So, you know, Nu over at main, Cash over at, I do believe, 3. So there's the blood pile there, and the pistons pumping away. We are going to preemptively go for that save. Cash now on the front foot. Yokai with power in hand does know that Nu is up here. Here's the drop down as well. Now is able to kick this gen and take control of the match a little bit more with the eruption kicks in. He does have power in hand again, but he can go back to the pulling survivors there and chase them and probably down them with the power. He doesn't really have to wait for anybody to be healthy to use his power. But what I will preface by saying is he more than likely should wait for line of sight. However, he's been extremely lucky to catch out Nu, who has dropped down, playing extra aggressive for this main generator. Sorry. We are going to be vaulting the window here to try and catch him off guard. Just can we close in the distance enough? Going to be pre-dropping that pallet, winning the 50 there, and yeah, falling short of the flick. There's going to be Cash inside of a locker. Addict just slamming out gens in the background there too. So maybe, just maybe, Yokai can interrupt 3, but he's chosen to go to 6 for some unknown reason. He might even meet Addict halfway, as Addict has gone all the way into Edge Map 3. We see the blood pools there, and yeah, that's just his ultimate demise, as he's played a little bit too preemptive little bit too much prediction going on there, and he's going to be going down. It's still 4Kable for our killer, especially with the eruption proc onto our survivors here, knowing where their whereabouts exactly are. But what do you think, Nalzi?
What do I think? I mean, listen. Gospel has definitely been playing for the win-con. I think that's evident in the fact that in the 4K1 scenario, even though the gens are incredibly split, it looks like there's been an Ebola pandemic with how much blood is everywhere, because they haven't healed at all. It's been straight gens and unhooks, which honestly, fair play if you're only needing to get a 4K2, but Yokai is going to put up a decent result with a 4K1 coming in here, because honestly, even though the gens are incredibly split, with the amount of pressure that Yokai can get just from the blood that's on the map, only in his power is high A tier. Only not in his power, or he's just trapper. He's your typical M1 trapper. So this is why we put Oni in these mid tiers, because in his power he's just incredibly strong. Insta down, fast mobility, it's just insane micro potential. But then out of power, it's all about your M1 fundamentals. And although Yokai did show some incredible M1 prefaces, the unfortunate reality is that Cash is WA, and therefore he would just get slightly less ping than what you would get compared to a Sydney-based game like myself. However, all things considered, even after the relatively late hit, Yokai is still going to put out a decent performance, just barely missing that. But there we go. There's a swing down straight onto Cash, and now we're going to go back to the unhook. Good stuff, Yokai. I like this macro gameplay. We understand no one can be on gen because A, there's just been an unhook and you're chasing the only other person. The gen pressure is actually going to be dwindling now, especially with 2 painters still up and eruption. This is definitely a 4K1 scenario. I will give my hat straight off to Gospel. But yeah, as we've seen the slugs come in, I don't think it's looking too good. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's looking like that 4K1 scenario, unfortunately, for Gospel, but they've already done well enough to take away the entire series 2-0, after 3 crazy sets, 2 wins and a tie. They were in it for the long run here. It's gone a little bit over their time, I think around 11 minutes in this current point, so they're really trying to wrap up the game, actually potentially even more, because on the off chance that we were actually meant to start at 9 o'clock, this will be 41 minutes over our time, so Yokai really trying to close in onto Noon. It's just rinse-repeat scenario here at the Coal Tower 1. Really trying to bait out Noon to W away from that pallet there. Addict even going for a cheeky little tree tech, but not quite working out in his favor. We do see Nu ready to pick up Cash as well for, again, 2 survivors left in the trial, and they're really fighting for that last generator to be done, and this is the performance you kind of expect Gospel to put up here, especially when they're really trying to fight for the best possible win result here. But Yokai still getting a little bit lost trying the ambitious flick, and doesn't really want to stop using his power to do so, doesn't want to play safe. That's going to be all power ran out and everybody up in the trial again. So it's still pretty rough for our killer, even though I wanted to say that he was in the box seat when he had 2 slugs on the floor, but just was not able to take advantage of it, and he's just flicking up the air in frustration, and you can really feel it here in the caster's box here. I'm not too sure what that was all about, anticipating a double back there, but if we just followed up through the doorway, I feel like we would have made that hit as we do vault the window here on the outside of main, just to extend the chase a little bit more into the middle of the map there. I'm not too sure where the survivors are at the moment. The other ones maybe just slamming out a gen in the far distance. We do have Cash sitting over at 3. Nu still walking around this T and L walk here, but he does not make the T, unfortunately. That is going to be no eruption proc there because nothing has been kicked, or at least not recently. So we are going to be picking up Nu after downing him just a few seconds ago. Addict still trying to force main. Cash sitting on 3. So it's just, where does Yokai go from here? He would have heard the generator over at main, and he does have the eligibility to go chase it if he chooses to do so, but opts to take the blood over at 3-4 power, can just pop and go and press off Addict from the top of main. Cash now in a predicament where if Addict is in chase, he either has to commit the gen or go for the pull, and he's safe to go for the pull. He's happy to go for the pull. There's no easy access to go back to the hook, I don't believe. It doesn't even matter because we'll be trying to go for a nasty little flick onto Addict there. Not quite, again, connecting as we do get the pull onto Nu. That's a really that's a crazy looking flick, my god. Anyway, we are just going to be waiting out the endurance effect here, and choosing not to use the power to down Nu just yet because it never would have downed Nu, but we do not win the mind game there. We do break the pallet, unfortunately, instead of connecting with Nu. So Yokai still in it for the long run. The boys of Gospel still in it for the long run, and with Cash off the floor, Nu and Cash have the allowance to basically work 3 unbothered, really, because Yokai is just forced over into chasing over at 11. He knows he's pretty much losing the game from here on out. He has not kicked the gen. This will be the down onto our Nia. Addict is on the floor. Cash and Nu up in the trial. Split the exit gates. And if you don't have Seabass gates, there's pretty much at least 2 stages out the door for either a 10 or 9 stage game. Potentially even less if we manage to get both survivors out of the trial. Nosy.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, the entire game, even though Gospel already hit their win con, just the fact they were still constantly flying over that 4K kind of shows that even though Yoka understands he's lost, he still has that mental fortitude to continue playing, keep playing for the best result. And honestly, that's what we want to see in Div 1. Like, even though you may lose, and you can still keep playing. Like, representing your team is honestly huge. And even though Gospel have just played an insane 3v1, we got to give props to Yokai in the fact that he's constantly kept them on their feet in a constant push and pull kind of scenario. But as we're going to see, we're going to see some hums coming in from Yokai, kind of venting the frustration there. As we're going to see Cash get unhooked, we're going to leave the trial with 3 freshers and 10 hooks. Honestly, not even a bad result, especially on Oni. It's just unfortunate they ended up having the 4K3 win con.
Yeah, he played very, very well. And yeah, that's going to be Cash sent off into the distance for the result of a 10-stage game. So.